morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. And so, well, the big news of the day, well, first of all, there's a new Emir in Kano, the new Emir Bayero. But yesterday, it was all over the place that the Emir of Kano had been dethroned for insubordination. So reactions continue. It was all over the press yesterday. Former President Obasanjo had done a reaction referring to him at the same time as His Highness and also friend. And reportedly, the Emir has also put out a statement. I think we have a translation of it. It was originally in Hausa, we're told. It's not available, but that is exactly what happened. And, one line in there sort of catches the former Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, a name that was modeled after that of his grandfather, Sanusi I, has reportedly said, "We have accepted whatever Allah decides." And so reactions continue. Libras Oshoma is my first guest this morning, and indeed we shall be hearing your reaction as well to the situation. We shall be joined later on by Abdulaziz Hassan Sani, and we'll be hearing from him. And of course, as always, we'll come home and hear your take on the matter. Well, the former Emir deposed for insubordination, and you were just explaining to me before we came on air that, well, actually, that word is a legal word because it's actually in the law.
Yes. What happened was when all of the crisis started, I think they amended the Kano State enthronement and dethronement law of Kano State. Apart from the fact that that law created 4 new emirates, which Abubakar Rimi, as governor of Kano State in 1982, also tried to do. There was a committee set up by the State House of Assembly to investigate, and we subsequently indicted the dethroned Emir of misappropriation of funds at the Emirate. And so he challenged it in court. That indictment was quashed by High Court in Kano, and then that law also was invalidated by that same High Court. And subsequently, because they were already working from an answer to a question, they immediately also enacted what you call the Kano State Emirate Council Law, passed into law, I think, in December 2019. By virtue of Part 3, Section 13, Paragraph A to E of that law, it spells out the procedure for dethroning an emir, if need be, for insubordination. Insubordination, nowhere defined. It can be anything. And so what they basically said was, okay, failure to attend meetings called by the state government, was regarded as insubordination. But we all know that all of these are, there are a lot of undercurrents to it. And but because the former emir also had spoken that they will accept whatever Allah, has said, so we won't also have the benefit of testing that law also in court, whether the law was validly or properly exercised, and whether such laws also can actually, empower the governor to do what he did. So
okay, it's interesting that that's the read that you take from the statement credited to him that, quote, "We have accepted whatever Allah decides," to mean that I'm not pursuing this further.
Yes.
Because there have been speculations that even though it's a very, very narrow window, the possibility was there, because there are those who are speaking about his rights of
freedom of movement,
that he just might, but again, as I said, it's an extremely narrow window.
Yeah, because also there are constitutionally he ought not to be restrained, but traditionally there are procedures.
Sure.
You can't have once an emir, for me, once an oba, always an oba, whether dethroned or not. And so you can't have, there's this belief, traditional
as long as you're still alive.
Yes, that you cannot have 2 obas in the same domain or 2 emir in the same emirate. So once one is dethroned, he's banished to, another land where his influence is not that enormous. I think also to to avoid that crisis in the Emirate. So they had to restrain his, movement to another domain. And maybe also, he had seen all of this coming. For him to accept it as the will of Allah, people also probably would have spoken to him that, look, you owed the knife to the peace in the Emirate. And so if probably pursued this further, it might aggravate the fragile peace in the Emirate, and so accept it as the will of Allah. If Allah says, after all, some people didn't even expect you to become emir when you became emir. And so if Allah says you're going to come back to the throne, you'll come back to the throne. But if Allah says no, if you like, pursue it from here to eternity. And so he probably would have looked at all of that and said, you know what, I don't want to, pursue this using constitutional means. I accept it as the will of Allah, and, I let it be.
Yeah, and so,
but especially against the backdrop that whether you exile him or not, the state government will still be the one to make provisions for him wherever he is.
Exactly.
And so what would he want to, pursue, knowing fully well that there are some people also within, the royal family who already also, would enjoy seeing him out. As we speak, somebody already has ascended the throne from the same family.
The new emir.
The new emir.
Aminu Bayero.
Yes, and if you remember also, when the late Ado Bayero died, some people also have touted Aminu to be, the heir apparent to the throne.
But something or somehow.
Exactly.
Quite frankly, one can't put it any differently.
Yes.
Something or somehow
happened at that time.
He was shunted.
Yes, he was shunted. And then also, mind you, the state governor, the then governor, was not too much in good terms with the late Ado Bayero. And so it was also not too obvious that the governor was going to favor his sons, any of his sons. And then coupled with the fact that even though the then governor also was not in good terms with Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, because he was also very vociferous against the former governor, that's Kwankwaso. He called Kwankwaso's, liaison office as a Jinomoto government house. That was the way he described it then. For Kwankwaso, that a Kano state, a state, that is ranked among one of the poorest states, that Kwankwaso was building a liaison office or a government house with 700 million, and that was preposterous. And so a lot of people also didn't expect that Kwankwaso was going to support him too. But, we also saw the undercurrent at that time, the crisis he had with, the former government of the PDP-led government, and, how eventually, he ascended the throne of his forefathers. And so it's always been crisis after the other. But for me personally, like I said before the program, I think that Sanusi was too modern and too how do I put it now? He was bigger than the throne, for lack of a better word. Because
the man, I hasten to add that the man said, after being central bank governor, a world-renowned economist and all, he said his lifelong ambition had always been to ascend the throne of his forefathers. So that was him.
Yes.
But then, as you say, for you.
For me.
So all of that would pale into insignificance next to his lifelong dream of becoming the emir.
Because some people at that time were expecting that somebody like Sanusi, would vie for the #1 office in the country, and not to limit himself to, a small...
again,
that's
different strokes for different
Exactly.
folks.
But the man had a separate ambition. He probably felt, look, my people will need me more. There's so much, poverty in my domain that let me remove the log in my people's eyes first, instead of thinking of how to remove the speck, in the larger eyes. And so that also you can't take away, from him. But personally, I think he... because also, I'm saying this because I looked at it against, the constitutional provisions and the democratic dispensation that we are today. I think that would limit the person and the persona of Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, because, he haven't occupied the position of the CBN governor, and seeing him for who he is somebody who cannot keep quiet in the face of injustice, in the face of corruption, in the face of non-accountability. The throne also in Nigeria, modern-day democracy, does not welcome radicals.
And
so it's akin to what You know,
I hear we can probably talk a lot about this, but take the new Emir, Aminu Bayero. I was reading interviews, before he became the Emir, way before. And the point that came out there was that, hey guys, first of all, yeah, I remember now, the interview was on the whole matter of the additional 4 Emirates that were come to, he said it displeased him. He never would have wished for that to happen. But then these are dynamic times and things change. And he had said that, you reporters, go check me out. Go and do your research. I have never for one day in my life asked anybody to give me anything concerning chieftaincy. In fact, he seemed, from the interview at least and other things that you might read, quite laid back about the whole matter. Again, very much in keeping with what Sanusi II has said, we have accepted whatever Allah decides. He too seemed to have that disposition that that's what Allah will bring what He will bring, and He will take what He will take. And so ours is just to be at one with Allah, which is quite characteristic of the North.
Even a lot of people would not agree with that his position, that he had never wanted it.
Well, that is, he'd never,
that is
I think he was saying that he never campaigned. That
is his personal position.
Yes.
But I would also say that for modern day, he fits the description of the kind of person that, even the powers that be would want on the throne, who would not, be involved in, political activities or what is happening around, who would rather advise indoor than outdoor.
Yeah, it's interesting you go there because one of the things, and actually we'll take a short break because our friend has come. One of the things that have been pointed out about Sanusi II, former Emir of Kano, is that he had no quote-unquote shyness at all. He was not shy to express himself. Well, okay, you could put it like that, but to express his opinions about governance publicly.
Which is why I said
publicly.
Which is why I said that for an emir, you also would learn to divorce your personal feeling about issues from the throne, and so. But because a lot of people, most people in government, do not like opposition. And so they expect you as an emir to be circumspect. But that's why I said the throne, radicals do not, stay long on the throne.
Okay.
Because they can't
bucking
keep
the
quiet.
system. You're bucking the system.
Yeah, but the throne expects you to keep quiet, in some cases be silent completely.
Indeed.
But he's not that kind of person. He's not the type that will see bad and pretend that it is not bad.
But that's the way of royalty. Royalty, because in all modern governments, the royalty actually is not in charge.
Yes.
They might be highly respected.
Yeah.
But anywhere. Go to England. The Queen of England. The Queen of England will probably keep her opinions, within the palace. And even though they have the whole ceremony there of the Prime Minister going in there and Her Majesty, initiating government and all of. But you're not supposed to. They're supposed to be.
Even as palace officials, even if you hear of such opinion and you voice them out, in most cases, they are considered, anathema to the throne. And so in some cases, such persons are disciplined within the palace. And so to that extent, and that's why I would still say that I think Sanusi was larger, than the throne.
Okay, let me take the video I was speaking about. There's so many clips. Let's just take this one.
Jama'a, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In the name of Allah, peace be unto you all. We are always thankful to Almighty Allah. God, in His infinite mercy, made me the Emir of Kano on the 8th of June 2014. I lived in good health for almost 6 years on the throne. Today, God that has given me the royalty has withdrawn it. We do say this every day, that being on the throne has a fixed time, and only God knows when your days will expire. Whether you like it or not, you must go. So we have accepted, and we are thankful to God. We would also like to thank the people of Kano for the love they have shown to us and loyalty. We are also thankful to our disciples and our aides. We call on the people of Kano to remain calm. We wish to plead to you to support the new Emir, showing solidarity to him and protect his integrity. We thank all our relatives and plead with them to be patient. We are reminding them that God does not make mistakes. What God has chosen is the right thing. We also thank God for giving us the opportunity to erect new structures in the palace and renovate old ones. We also thank God for giving us the opportunity to erect new structures in the palace and renovate old ones. We pray that God brings us even much more closer to Him. May Allah give Nigeria good leaders. Thank you. We have left you in peace.
Sanusi II, former Emir of Kano, who has since been replaced with Aminu Bayero, the new Emir of Kano. And at this stage, I'm happy to welcome our brother Abdul Aziz Hassan Sani, communications professional. Thank you very much, as always, for coming on.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Indeed. As you know, we're looking at reactions. There's a change of guard in the Kano, in the Kano Emirate. Now we have a new Emir. Interestingly, his father was also Emir. And at the time, it was thought that he might succeed his father, but that was not the way. In fact, following in the idiom of both himself in a different occasion, the current Emir and the outgone Emir, it is whatever Allah wills that will be.
Yeah. As a Muslim and as a leader, we always take solace in the Almighty God, whether good or bad. And what he said is very good of him, that he took it as an act of God. And based on what he said yesterday, he said, God gave power, and God takes power. You might like something inside you, but such kind of a thing can turn out to be harmful to you, unknown to you as a mortal. And you might dislike something, and that thing might turn out to be very, very good to you. I like him for that, for taking it, and for even asking his own siblings to pay homage to the new Emir and not to create any rancor, to cooperate with him and do whatsoever is good for the progress of Kano and for the entire Nigeria in general. And
President Obasanjo, he said he has paid the price.
Added his own view.
Yes.
You know, as a prolific writer and a speaker president, and we see him as a nationalist with interest in whatsoever happened to Nigeria. Whether you like him or you hate him, you must give him credit for that. He said he received it with mixed feelings, bad and good. Bad in the sense that it was undeserved.
Yeah, he said he received the news.
He received the news,
both good and bad.
Both good and bad. It was undeserved on the bad side. And on the good side, he paid the price. He now enjoins the president, the deposed emir, to be courageous, to have the fortitude and courageous to continue on the path he had chosen for himself in the interest of the nation and humanity in general. What do you expect? What do you expect? Is there anything more than that?
So actually, I don't know, he probably was signaling, and I don't know how people feel, that we might not necessarily have heard the last of Muhammadu Sanusi in other areas of life, other endeavors of life.
No, you see, what I saw in him is a repeat of history. His grandfather was deposed. And now...
Sanusi the First.
Yes, and now he was deposed yesterday. We knew this thing will come based on the political calculus we are seeing. We knew it will happen. But what shocked us, it was the sudden nature of it.
And the speed.
the sudden nature of
Yes.
it yesterday.
So that an emir is deposed and an emir has been appointed.
No.
Not that.
That one is never that is never a story. That is never a new thing.
It can't be a vacuum.
The same thing happened to the Emir of Gandu. As he was removed, he was replaced by General Muhammadu Sanusi. You understand?
So that's not the speed you're talking
never
about.
vacuum at all. And the dethronement is never a new thing to us in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We know we greeted it like the same way we greeted death. Death is always new to us. And death is never new to us. Do you know why? We greeted death with shock. We greeted and dethronement with shock because of the personalities involved. A lot of emirs, Obas, were deposed in Nigeria. In the old Western region, in 1897, the Oba of Benin was deposed and banished. Overaman. He was deposed and banished. Olateru Olagbegi was deposed as the Oba or as Olo of Owo. The Oba Akitoye of Lagos, he was deposed, reinstalled, and deposed again. The father of the present Alafi of Oyo, he was deposed. We can go on and on and on.
Even remember the Ado of Ekiti too?
Yeah. Ado and the Deji of Akure.
Sorry.
The present that happened in the present political dispensation. He was deposed. And look at the Emir of Muri, Umar Abatukur. He was deposed in 1986 by the military regime.
The Sultan of Sokoto also was
led by Yohana Madawaki.
The Sultan of Sokoto.
He was removed. The Sultan of Sokoto was removed in 1996.
So you're saying it's quite commonplace in our polity, if not tradition.
No, unfortunately, do you know why? The one that happened yesterday can be correlated with what happened to Olo of Owo. You know, they look very, very similar. Do you know why? They were all caught in a crossfire.
Yeah.
Crossfire in the sense that.
Political crossfire.
Crossfire in the sense that, you know, and that of Alafi also. Crossfire in the sense that the Olo of Owo, you know, his own allegiance was to Samuel Ladoke Akintola, to the charging of Chief Obafemi Awolowo that are in power then. And the power was tested on him. He was deposed. The same thing happened to the Adeyemi Alafin of Oyo. He was deposed because he took another political leaning, contrary to the order of the day at that particular point in time. He joined the NCNC instead of Action Group that is known with the people of southwestern Nigeria.
It almost happened to the Awujale of
And the same thing, he was given the boot by the elites. What we saw yesterday, political differences. He was a beneficiary of the political differences prior to 2015. And that saved him from the hammer of the PDP government led by, with due respect, Chief Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He was saved by making him an Emir of Kano from that hammer, because there's a great respect for that throne in Kano. That served as a refuge for him. But unfortunately, two of them, they were all in the same camp, all of them, three of them, the parties involved now. Ganduje,
Kwankwaso,
Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, and the deposed Emir of Kano, Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. Why is this? They were all together. Ganduje happened to be a very good loyalist of Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. to the extent that when they were defeated and he was made a minister of defense, he went together with him as one of his PAs in the Ministry of Defense. And they came back again to rescue Kano State government, and he remained a loyal deputy governor and now took charge later as the governor of Kano State. But now, what we are seeing now is this. Emir Sanusi did not read between the lines. Between the lines in the sense that, look, there's something wrong in being loyal to your benefactor. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is a benefactor to the dethroned Emir of Kano. And the romance now went sour. Instead of him to tread cautiously, he found himself in the crossfire. My sympathy goes to him. Because
he had his principles that he wasn't going to...
He had his principles, and there's something wrong, as I've said earlier, in you being loyal to your benefactor. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is a benefactor to Emir Sanusi. He made him the Emir of Kano. And that helped him in no small way. It's a very simple issue. And all of them are the same before. But personality clash came. And they now parted away. It took Ganduje a very long time for him to remove his red cap, the symbol of Konkwasiya, even when other people removed theirs. His own was still with him, still very loyal to him. But you know, the politics of Kano is a different ballgame entirely. There was a departure of the politics of Kano during the time of Malam Aminu Kano with the one we are witnessing here now in Kano. The loyalty of people of Kano at the time of Malam Aminu Kano was to Malam Aminu Kano, the principle of redemption of people from social, political, and economic backwardness of the people. But now,
the Talakawa
what you see now playing out in Kano now, anybody that becomes a governor, loyalty goes to him. And that is the advantage of Ganduje in Kano against Kwankwaso.
Coupled with poverty.
You see,
and the emir, the former emir, used to speak copiously about poverty, and in so doing, poverty is a subject that everybody can speak about, but in so doing was not shy to actually lay blame. Remember, he criticized people going to China to get a loan for light rail.
Yeah, 1.2 billion
yes.
dollar loan.
Yes, you know.
Even at that time, that's
and for light rail rather than for schools, for example.
Even there was a committee that recommended the decentralization of traffic and that they needed that light rail. But the light rail was supposed to be a PPP arrangement, public-private participation arrangement, and not a loan from China. And immediately the governor signed, a week after the governor signed that memorandum of understanding, Sanusi did not mince words. He went, I think he was on the occasion, or a birthday of the governor. I think it was
in Kaduna.
Yes, yeah. The Kaduna, the celebration of the governor of Kaduna State. And he went all out. He criticized the governor.
Nasir El-Rufai's birthday.
Yes, criticized the governor, criticized the taking of that loan, that it will further impoverish, you know, the already poor people of Kano State.
So one moment, please. Let's take a break. I've got to go on a commercial break. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. There's been a change in the Emirate in Kano, and now we have Aminu Bayero as the new Emir of Kano. We'll be right back. Welcome back. A new emir has been appointed in Kano. Aminu Bayero to replace Muhammadu Sanusi II.
Muhammadu Sanusi II has gone the way of his grandfather, who was Emir of Kano between 1954 and 1963, when he was dethroned by the government of the day. From the day Muhammadu Sanusi II was appointed in 2014 as the 14th Emir of Kano, after a stormy exit from the Central Bank of Nigeria, it was obvious that the top banker may be in for a rough ride. He left the corporate world to ascend the first-class traditional stool, but did not leave his social activism in the boardroom. At different fora, the ousted emir did not fail to criticize the government and elite, accusing them of negligence and impoverishing the people.
The rest of the country cannot be investing, educating its children, producing graduates, and then they watch us, they can't get jobs because they come from the wrong state, when we have not invested in the education of our own children.
Signs emerged before the 2019 election that the Kano state government is disposed to clip in the wings of the emir, but the fear of the likely consequence of any action kept the situation under control. In May last year, the State House of Assembly passed the amended Appointment and Deposition Law, which was signed by the governor in less than 48 hours, leading to the creation of 4 emirates from the ancient Kano Emirate. We are about to make history today, and in the holy month of Ramadan, Governor Ganduje had said. And it was historic indeed, as the law demolished the single rulership that has been in place in Kano since 1804, when the Sokoto Caliphate was established. While all these were going on, the deposed emir was in and out of probe panels over allegations of corruption. Last week, another petition surfaced accusing the former emir of violating the culture, tradition, and religious beliefs of the people. And so, in less than 1 week, what many believe has been hanging over the once revered traditional ruler happened. He will now spend the rest of his life in a land where his robe of royalty will be exchanged for the gown of commoners.
Okay, our guests in studio still Libros Oshoma, lawyer, and Abdulaziz Hassan Sani, our communications professional. And so before we went, I interrupted you before we went on that break.
So on the issue of the loan, so he was very vociferous against it, and then the government also didn't like the fact. At that point, they even raised them. There was some argument that he could have advised the governor privately instead of going public, you know, with the criticism. And, you know,
yeah, but even but even before then, this, as you were saying, the term insubordination can encompass a heck of a lot.
Yes.
There was also the charge that was put out by the secretary to the Kano state government yesterday that the former emir simply refused to attend any public functions. That was going to be a problem straight away. Even the inauguration of Governor Ganduje, he was not there.
Yeah, when that happened, immediately all of those criticisms started. It became obvious. And then when that investigation and indictment and invitation by the State House of Assembly came, you know, he immediately approached the court.
Yes.
And then the court nullified the law creating those emirates. So it was obvious that there was, you know, no love lost between the governor
and the emir. There was
now
a standoff.
And so there was a standoff. And so you would not expect the emir to attend functions or events attended by the governor. And that's why I've consistently said that radicals don't last on the throne. It's either you want to remain that, you know, Sanusi, Lamido, Sanusi that we all know, or you allow yourself to be worn the robe of royalty, and then you maintain silence on the throne. Also, against the backdrop of the fact that in Nigerian constitutional democracy, like we say, the governors and the president enjoy so much enormous power that power, they say, corrupt, and absolute power corrupt, absolutely. This is not the first time. My friend and colleague Abdulaziz had, you know, taken time to take us through history of how kings have been dethroned. And most of them, like I said, even if you read Awujale's book, in 1979, he was almost caught in the crossfire between the UPN and the MPN in the southwestern region. And so this is not the first time that, governors see, kings who attempt to not to take side with them sheepishly, as a threat. You also find situations where it was also alleged, because of all of this criticism, it was alleged that Sanusi tacitly supported the PDP candidate, who was a distant cousin, in the last election in Kano. And so all of this, when the governorship election matter was in court, an aide to Governor Ganduje, boastfully also made a statement, which they subsequently denied, that the moment this matter is over at the court, that their first assignment will be to dethrone, the emir. So at that point, I think also that, the two personalities do not ordinarily go together.
Indeed.
Because there's no way you will not be viewed from the prism of trying to interfere in political activities. They expected you to just, sit down there. And then also lastly, the Awujale of Ijebuland during the presidential election in 2015, when Goodluck Jonathan visited him, he said, look, I'm the father of all. I can't take side. And so I will advise you publicly and bless you. When others come, I'll bless them also. And that's what governors and, constitutional authority in Nigeria expect of the throne. The moment you shift from that line, then you are looking for trouble.
Abdulaziz, the strategic, choice of Emir, because the government could have chosen anybody within reason, the strategic choice of Aminu Bayero to replace Sanusi II, that probably helped a great deal, in addition to all the security that we were told that was surrounding Government House, surrounding the State Assembly, surrounding the palace. That probably helped greatly in things not breaking down.
No. You see, you need to understand how Kano is, or how Kano was, and how Kano is today.
Okay.
For you to be able to juxtapose and draw your conclusions. It's already a done deal for people that knew. A lot of people knew.
It was a matter of time.
The whole Kano was divided into two, pro and against. Pro, Aminu Ado, and against deposed Emir Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. To the extent that during Salah celebration, it now became a business venture for transporters to transport people from Kano to Bichi to go and pray with Aminu Ado Bayero, the present Emir of Kano. You understand? So a lot of people were disposed to him to take the throne of his father.
Yeah.
So this thing did not come as a surprise. They knew no candidate, nobody will contest, because they knew the same way they are going about it. They started. You see, Governor Ganduje, he did something. And when he started it, he now wanted to make the chairmanship of Kano Emirate rotational.
Yeah.
Everybody knew where he's going to. You understand? You see, I'm not here to pitch my tent with any one of them. I'm just here to analyze for public to know.
So for public to know better.
Yes.
One moment, because someone's on the line, and we'll come back to studio. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you, and greetings to the guests.
Yes.
Uncle Yori, let me first thank Alhaji Hassan for giving that historical perspective on how Obas and Emirs have been subjects of dethronement by government or by governors. You see, I, as a person, am not surprised at the dethronement of Sanusi, because we know that his views they do not go down well with people in leadership positions, both at local and at national level. I do not subscribe to the notion that when you are a king, you should not have a say in governance. Why are you the king of the people if something is going wrong with people and you cannot say anything about it? If you look look at Sanusi, you see that he's a reformer. He has spoken against child education. He has spoken against Amajari. He has spoken against misgovernance that brought poverty to the northerners. If you are a king and you cannot talk about such things, what should you be talking about? To be fanning the embers of a non-performing governor? When they were amending that law that changes how they dethrone or appoint emirs, I knew where they were going, that they don't want this man to be there. The people of Kano that are going to be the losers in this case, time will tell. Sanusi will be vindicated at the end of the day. Why do we not like truth in this country? Good morning, Uncle Yeri.
Good morning, and thank you very much for calling in. So you were explaining that, look, anybody in Kano would have seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And you explained, that's a detail that probably is valuable to non-Kano indigenes about. Where in Salah, you said it was ultimate business for transportation because people were being transported to the Emirate, the newly created Emirate of Bichi for... So, in fact, you are also saying, you've also said to us that it's not rocket science. It was known that Aminu Bayero was going to take over.
Yes, and that was why nobody contested. You understand? They knew. People saw where the pendulum is about to, you understand? So now, it's the script now that came out, actualized. You understand? So this issue you are seeing now is, I really appreciate the comment made by Emir Sanusi, because deposed Emir Sanusi, in the sense that he played down the whole Wahala. Yes, because whether you like it or not, he has his own fans that are ready to die for him. And the same new Emir also has his own fans that are ready to die for him. Either the head or the tail, a common man will suffer last.
Mazi Okoroafo, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mazi.
Honestly, gentlemen and Ogayeri, there is nothing wrong with the dethronement of Emir Sanusi. Whether political, people will call it political or social or economical, anything that they call it. Now, even during the Imo State, during the last regime, how many chiefs were sent packing? Even the chairman. They went to court, nothing happened. Nobody obeyed court order. So I don't know why Nigerians are singing finally at the Emir of Kano, the dethronement as if it is the only story as we have. Look at you, they're going to rise up this commission today. Nobody's talking about that one, their comfortability and how to take care of them with the COVID-19. What Sanusi could have done as a learned man was to throw in his power. Because he has been exposed, and international economists named them. I was suspecting within that when all this fire will come in both east, north, and south within the Kano zone, to throw in his power, that could have given more respect. To me, the way I see it, because of his level of education. Now, see what happened in UK. When the current Prime Minister came, what happened? The Chancellor, when he discovered that it was not good, the thing was high, he resigned comfortably. So why is it that in Nigeria, when we climb up, nobody cares if something is coming, fire is coming, we will not say, you must adjust. Because no condition is permanent, no office is permanent. Johnny just come, Tony just come, Amaka just come, Barras stay there. But the thing is this, meanwhile, let me just congratulate the Adebayo, the new Emir, because
Aminu Bayero.
Okay,
Aminu Bayero, son of Ado Bayero.
He's also Ado Bayero. Aminu Ado Bayero.
Well, okay.
Congratulations to Your Excellency, wherever you are. God bless you and keep you. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much. Liberals, the governor, in taking his action, had said that, look, the honor, the respect, the tradition of the Emirate and the palace that is centuries old, we could not stand by and watch anything desecrate it. And if something was not done the way Emir Sanusi, former Emir Sanusi, was going, it was too risky.
Yeah, you expect definitely. You won't expect anything less from the governor. You know, he would want to curry favor from the undiscerning, even though the discerning know that all of those were just to give the impression that something was wrong. You also find out that, you know, most people who, you know, have ears for the truth were happy with what Sanusi was saying. But my only problem and difference here is that knowing how the reduction of the powers and the influence of the emir is compared to that of a constitutional position, I had expected that, you know, with all that knowledge and with all that of influence and all of that voice, that, you know, keeping it under the control of a local government chairman. We need to understand this. An emir reports to a local government chairman, a local government chairman, and in some cases, a council, a commissioner. If you remember, under what do you call it, Lucky Gbenedio's administration, the Oredo local government chairman, the governor, using the Oredo local government chairman, issued a circular that no king in the domain should travel without permission from him. And you imagine the throne of the reverend throne of Benin wanting to travel and then
needing
clearance from
the chairman of a local government.
And so if you understand all of these dynamics, constitutional dynamics, you know, with that kind of influence and knowledge, you know, I had expected that
let me see what
Sanusi
Wale
should go for the presidency.
Let me see what Wale in the UK has to say. Then we'll come back and look at aspects of this. Wale in the UK, I'm sorry, I think I lost you. Good morning, Wale. No? Okay. The politics and the throne don't mix well, is probably the bottom line. Now, Sanusi II, former emir, he would know this, but he was always bucking that trend because his comments actually went straight into the political arena. He was criticizing governance, and people have said that, well, Your Highness, as he was then known, maybe, yes, your freedom of speech, but perhaps not in the marketplace. But he wasn't going to listen.
You know what?
What does he say?
You know, let me put it in this way for you and for the general audience to know. You see, critic knows the road, but they cannot drive the car. You understand? Critics, they know the road, but they cannot drive the car. You see,
that's profound.
That's
a very graphic
the methodology. Let me tell you one thing. Nobody will ever take it from the so-called critics. With due respect to former Emir Sanusi, anybody in charge of governance will always see it as confrontational. For you to go public, look, let me take you the memory lane. Something happened. During the last regime, last administration of General Muhammadu Buhari, they said there was a press statement issued by the presidency that, please, if you have anything to say, please put it in writing to us. And they were referring to former Emir Sanusi. You understand? They were referring to him because they saw him as a friend of the government. So why going public to castigate us, to criticize our policies, and do all sorts of things? You understand? Nobody in government will ever like it. This issue of going, demonstrating, saying it in public, calling a spade is never in tune with anybody in government. They feel threatened.
Okay. Divine Imakredi, good morning.
Good morning, Chief Okoyere.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir.
Yeah, I want to sympathize with the people of Kano State in general. And the point I'm trying to create out is the Emir has been dethroned yesterday. But the problem we're having is that this country, nobody wants to die for the truth. You see, anyone that speaks out the truth, they say, bring him and kill. Because this man is saying the truth. I'm not his fan. I don't cherish him as a but then, when one is saying the truth, I buy the idea of truth. Whoever is in the throne, the reason why you should be on the throne is for you to protect the people and tell the people the truth. And whereby you are not saying the truth, who are you leading? For example, if Obasanjo says something, they will say, bring him and kill, because he speaks the truth. He says it for the hearing of everybody. Not
Obasanjo wasn't ready to hear.
I believe that the dethronement of the Emir of Kano was just political. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. You were saying, Liberals,
even
because
when Obasanjo was there,
former President Obasanjo was now referring to Sanusi as His Highness and brother, I think,
yes,
or friend.
Yes, right.
I don't know, was he friend or brother?
We know Obasanjo to be a very controversial person. As president, Obasanjo appointed advisors and said, I must not listen to your advice.
I don't need to listen.
I don't need to listen. You know, so, like he has said, there is a difference between, you know, being a radical and occupying political office. The only way you can make those radical change that are desirable in Nigeria today is not to be on the throne. If you remain on the throne, you will criticize, and then when they don't, because definitely they don't like those criticisms, they will one day find a way to remove you. And then, mind you, as you are leaving, somebody, maybe your closest person, is even ready to quickly, you know, wear the crown. Nobody would say, ah, look, we like this man so much that nobody is willing to accept the throne.
Indeed.
And so what happens is, we all know that politicians, that's why some of them will tell you that, oh, it's because you are out there, you really don't know the way it is. And he has described it. It's like you know the road, but you don't know how to drive.
You can't drive the car.
So I'm on the steering. You are distracting me with your shout and criticism. So in some cases, say, take care of that man, push him out of the vehicle, you know, because he's distracting me. And see here also.
Continuing the metaphor, Abi.
Yes.
Very good, very good. And in closing now, what next? Former Emir Sanusi II, he's a relatively young person. He has his whole life ahead of him. Some commentary you hear, he's now banished to somewhere for the rest of his life. That isn't usually the way it happens.
No, that is it. But I don't think I think nowadays there are certain changes that goes with the banishment now, with the modernity and what have you. You can't banish somebody for life, more especially an exposed person like Emir Sanusi. You banish him to Nasarawa State for life, no. Even his grandfather that was banished to Azari, later they changed it to Wudil. You understand? The only thing is that he cannot go to Kano again.
Yes.
You understand?
Understandably.
It is only when he is no more, they now take his, you know, remains to Kano for burial as a royal person. You understand?
But that's just him.
Yes.
His family.
You know what
there are
they,
no such strictures.
No.
Okay.
The family can go. But you see, the issue is this: they did that so that there will be no dual loyalties. You understand? It's much more of security reasons.
And in any case, the former emir has enjoined all of Kano to pay obeisance to the new emir. As he put it, we have accepted whatever Allah has decided.
There must be changes to that banishment issue. There must be changes.
Thank you very much, Abdulaziz Hassan Sani, communications professional. Thank you very much for sharing your perspective and giving us some insights into aspects. Thank you also, Libros Oshoma, lawyer, for also giving us some insights into the law about how these things, and then also practices that have gone on in the past. Thank you, gentlemen, for your insights. And also thank you at home for calling in and letting us know what you think about the matter. That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.